Hi, Jewish Mom. I want to tell you first of all that I will be leaving on a vacation to visit my family in North America this coming Wednesday. So that means for 2 weeks, then there's not going to be any pep talks. So the next pep talk that I make will be Bezrat Hashem on August 28th. Sorry about that. I'll miss these pep talks. I'll miss talking with you this way. Also, I wanted to mention to you that my teacher, Rabbi Niven, will be starting his new El Chabura soon, and he has a special offer this year. For the first 3 classes are being offered for only $1. And also, there's 3 new exciting tracks. So first of all, for beginners, there's going to be what's called the Journey track, which is kind of a new innovative approach to the kind of beginners Chabura curriculum. I am actually toying with the idea of doing it again, of going back 7.5 years to the beginning curriculum, because I heard from a friend that the Journey curriculum is really, really amazing. So maybe I'll be there with you. We'll see. So there's the Journey Chabura, first 3 classes for $1, and there's also a beginner's marriage focused chabura. So there's 2 tracks within the marriage, one for kind of more like regular marriage situations, which is called like the motivated marriage chabura, people who are motivated to have their marriages get better, and to upgrade their marriages. And also there's going to be another track for people who are in challenging marriages. So 3 options, all of them. Then the first 3 classes, starting at the end of August, first 2 classes are just for $1, and I cannot recommend this enough. If you like these pep talks and you come back every week or occasionally and watch these pep talks, I think you might have noticed that basically almost everything I say I'm quoting from Rabbi Niven. So you maybe, like, if you're listening to these pep talks, you really should go. I highly recommend go to the source and try it, Rabbi Niven. You don't have anything to lose, so kadai. Okay, so what I want to talk about this week is, of course, a class by Rabbi Niven that I heard this last week, that I've been quoting left and right. It's one of my favorite Rabbi Niven classes of all time. It's a class on jealousy, and he said such powerful things. I think, like, I'm not a person, I don't struggle so much with jealousy, but I think that sometimes without even thinking of it, it's jealousy. Maybe like I kind of see another person who does this or that, and I feel kind of inferior to them without the jealousy part. But I feel kind of like, what's the matter with me? Why can't I do this and that? So basically, listening, Rabbi Niven calls this class, he called it a jealousy root canal. Really, really powerful. Just to give you like a snippet, a glimpse into what he taught us. So the first thing that he said is that there are people in the world who are asay tov people, and there are other people who are sor mira. Asay tov means people who do good, and the sor mira are people who turn away from bad. So basically, what does this mean? So the asay tov people are the people in your community who are kind of like the leaders in the community, like community leaders, people who they're making dinners in their honor, people who are starting new chesed organizations, and like the heads of various, schools and organizations and things going on, and chesed committees, and kind of these people who are like a shaker, what do you call it, makers and movers and doers and all the people that like always just seem to have everything all together and always starting something new. That's the asay tov people, the do tov people, the do good people. Then there's another group of people who are the sor mira people who are going away from bad, people who it's just their lives are just one struggle after another. First this kid is sick, then that kid is sick, then then she has this health issue, and then that health issue, then this, financial problem, that financial problem, and then they're going to having a problem with various children, and this one's in Overeaters Anonymous, this one's in Alcoholics Anonymous, and this one's in Narcotics Anonymous, and they just basically are people who what they are focusing their lives on is just basically keeping their heads above water. So Rabbi Niven just said something so powerful. He said, the people who are the people who are the turn away from bad people, then they look at the do good people, at these community leaders who they're making dinners in their honor, etc. And they think, what is the matter with me? Why do I have to struggle so much just to like overcome my addiction to overeating or alcohol, etc., or dealing with this child or with this health issue, etc. And looking, and they think like, what is the matter with me? Why can't I just be like them? Why can't I be like everybody else? And Rabbi Niven said like, like we have this mistaken belief that there's like, we say that somebody is at a certain madrega, at a certain like spiritual level, and the truth is, spiritual level, it's really completely not important. What is important is that we are trying in our lives to take our next step in Avodat Hashem, our next small step in doing the right thing, to go in the right direction. So let's say like for this woman who's in Overeaters Anonymous, and she is just like that, is just like her whole life is just overcoming a problem with obesity, and health issues related to obesity. So her next step in Avodat Hashem is maybe, getting a little bit of exercise, eating, like meeting with a dietitian, getting a blood test, like doing what she needs to do. And it might be, and then she'll think, oi, like I'm spending so much time at Overeaters Anonymous and talking with my what do you call it, partner, to get chizuk for my overeating. And then she looks at her neighbor who is, who has, who runs a chesed organization, of course, and has a large amount of perfectly groomed and perfectly genius and perfectly successful children, and thinking, well, she has everything all together, and also very, very thin and glamorous, and she thinks, what's the matter with me? Why can't I be like a Seitov? Why can't I be like her? And it's completely, basically, what Rabbi Niven kept on saying throughout this class is that people keep on saying, people who are this sor mirah kind of people, then they say, why can't I be like everyone else? But you are, like, a person who is in this getting away from bad situation is like everyone else. And that all of us, everyone, you, and also your highly successful and glamorous next door neighbor, so then both of you are taking your next step in Avodat Hashem. Maybe her next step in Avodat Hashem is making a dinner for the local yeshiva, and your next step in Avodat Hashem is setting up the appointment with your dietitian, and that's okay. Like, in God's eyes, you taking your next step in Avodat Hashem, there's no difference, or even trying to take your next step in serving Hashem. Okay, so another example that Rabbi Niven gave that I thought was especially powerful was of a person who's struggling with mental illness. Let's say there's someone who's schizophrenic, so he goes to this psychiatrist and that psychiatrist and tries this medication and that medication, and he's in the mental hospital. And then he stabilizes, and he's let out, and then he's taking his medication and doing what he's supposed to be doing, and then he has like a schizophrenic episode. He has like a psychotic episode again. He's back in the hospital. And so a person like this, he can so easily say, like, what is up with me? Why do I have to waste my life living this way? I want to be, like my neighbor next door who's learning in yeshiva however many hours a day, or, my other neighbor, the lawyer who's just like kind of like working every day and setting aside time for learning and being a reliable husband and home and da. Why can't I be like that? Why can't I just be normal? Why do I have to deal with like these voices in my head, But again, Rabbi Niven said, like, a person who pulls him up, who pulls himself up from the 49th level of tuma, of impurity, to the 48th level, from 49th to 48th level of impurity. That person, it's like that person is like the greatest tzaddik of the generation, because that person is taking their next step in Avodat Hashem, their next small step in doing the right thing. It doesn't matter that this person is schizophrenic in a mental hospital, and that person is the Rosh Yeshiva. It doesn't matter. Just in Hashem's eyes, all that matters is that you are taking your next small step in Avodat Hashem. Another example that Rabbi Niven gave was for someone struggling in a challenging marriage. Let's say somebody's married to a person who's narcissistic, a person who has a personality disorder, a husband who is simply unable to provide any sort of emotional connection or support. And this woman can say, like, why can't I be like everybody else? Why can't I have a husband who listens to me, who I can turn to for like emotional support, but Rabbi Niven kept on saying, but in this situation, she is like everyone else. Everyone is taking their next step, and what everyone needs to do in every situation is take their next step in Avodat Hashem, and her next step in Avodat Hashem is just that. Like maybe it's like whatever that would be, speaking to a rebbitzin to get chizuk, speaking to a psychologist to figure out how to deal with her husband, doing things to take care of herself, so that she can be strong enough to do what she needs to do, and take any steps which she feels like she needs to take. Okay, in this challenging marriage. Another thing would be a person with chronic pain. A person with chronic pain, and they just feel like, why do I have to be suffering so much? I'm struggling with chronic pain, but that person, so then she can say to herself, my next step in Avodat Hashem is dealing with this pain, and within like the little bit that I can do, maybe let's say like this woman, maybe it's setting up an appointment with a doctor, maybe it's getting a certain amount of exercise, maybe it's checking out alternative methods for dealing with pain. Maybe for her it would be actually cutting down on the amount of Shabbat guests. Maybe it's getting a cleaning lady. Maybe doing things to help herself to function, to function with her chronic pain. So in conclusion, I think that we, all of us, I think, have a tendency, and it's normal human nature, to compare ourselves with other people, and we see other people who seem to have it all together. The people who have these kind of picture perfect lives. The perfect marriage, the perfect children, the perfect like people who are community activists and builders and balei chesed, and people who are philanthropists, and people who are like mamash on the like community leaders of like, wow, like that's who I wanted. When I grow up, I want to be like them. Okay, it's very challenging for people who are more on the Sormi Ra, people who are dealing with challenges, people whose lives are really more focused on dealing with challenges, and dealing with health issues, and dealing with issues with children, and dealing with addictions, and the thing is, like always, like in every situation, like I gave the example of the person with mental illness, the person in the challenging marriage, the person who's coping with chronic pain. It could be like a young woman who hasn't found her husband yet, and she's just getting older and older and still single. It could be a mother of an off the derech child, and she said, I want to be like walking him to yeshiva. Instead, I'm walking him to a bar to hang out with his friends. Why do I have to be? Why can't I be like everybody else? But the thing is, really, and I think this is the ikar, this is the main thing, is to remember that really when you are struggling, that you are like everyone else, because everybody, no matter what their situation, is that we are all struggling to take our next step in Avodat Hashem. And it might be that one person, it seems kind of more glamorous, maybe for Rabbi Noach Weinberg, his next step in Avodat Hashem was to set up Yeshivat Esha Torah, to set up Esha Torah, and another person is to go to his AA meeting. But in God's eyes, trying to take your next step in Avodat Hashem, it means that we're all the same. It means that we're all the same in doing wherever we are on the ladder, trying to take the next step up. And in that way, Rabbi Niven just really insisted that the jealousy is completely off. You're completely off track. A person who's jealous is completely off track, has completely lost the sense of that everybody is the same, in that each of us need to take our next step in Avodat Hashem, in climbing a little bit up that ladder. And on that note, I want to wish all of you with an amazing month, because I'm not going to be back here making another video until the end of August. Okay, I'm blessing with an amazing week, and an amazing few weeks, an amazing month.